Okay, y'all. So Game of Thrones season 2, episode 10. So a lot went down because they was wrapping this episode up because it's the end of the season, right? So Stannis, okay, he all upset because he lost the battle, and Melisandre is trying to convince him like, you definitely going to win the war. Don't worry, yada yada yada. You're going to be king. Still pumping his head up even though he had lost the battle or whatever. Now Arya, she broke. She been left. She left. Where was she at? She was in. She was with Tywin, so she left out of that place, and with the help of Hagar, Jack and Hagar or whatever. So she meets back up with him on the road, and he gives her like a little coin and let her know like if she ever need to see him again or run into him again, all she got to do is just show that coin to somebody from Bravos and they can link up again. But he was trying to get her to go with him, but she was like, she can't do that right now because she trying to find her brother, her mother, and her sister for real. So that's what she on the journey to do. Now, her brother Rob Stark, okay, Rob then got married to the fucking medical lady, okay, the nurse, and basically like broke his freaking vows, like his promise that he had with Walder Frey. And before he got married to this girl, his mother was telling him like, Walder Frey is not a man that you want to cross and break your word to. Like you gave him your word, he was gonna marry one of his daughters. So he is not gonna take this lightly or whatever the case may be. But Rob all bitter because he don't really trust his mother because she had let Jamie go or whatever the case may be. So he don't feel like he could trust her and he don't want her to be comparing him to her father or whatever. I mean his father. So um so yeah, so he ended up marrying her, whatever the case may be. So it's definitely going to cause a huge issue with them in the next season for sure, especially where Walter Frey is concerned. Okay, now Tyrion is in the bed, cut all up, bruised all up from the injury. I mean, from the battle or whatever. And Shay comes in and first he talking to Varys about what's going on. Varys is like, you don't got nobody here with you right now. Basically, there's nothing to know. Like he in there by himself, even though he got like his sister and his father and them, but they don't really fuck with him like that for real. I mean, his father did, but his father just treat him bad for real. They all treat him bad because he a little person, but he's really a good person. But he basically was telling him like Varys was basically telling him like, you did a good thing saving King's Landing, but nobody is ever going to know your story because you ain't getting the credit for it, and the king ain't gonna give you the credit or whatever. So Shay comes in there with him. Basically, they had a little cutesy little moment or whatever the case may be. Shay trying to get him to leave and go to Pentos with her, just live life. But he like, Tyrion's like, no, like this is all I know. Like I like trying to be smarter than these people and this and that. Like he liked the game. So he trying to stay in the Game of Thrones for real. Joffrey, so Solaris had came to Joffrey after the war and asked for Joffrey's if Joffrey could marry his sister or whatever. And basically what happened was that he was already pledged to marry Sansa, but the Maester, the one that be playing like he's slow as shit, but he really ain't. He basically was saying like, oh well, because the Starks was treacherous and this and the third, that basically like breaks your bond. You don't have to marry the Stark girl anymore. So he basically accepted the proposal of Marjorie, and Marjorie was Renly's wife, and Renly was Stannis' brother and King Robert's brother, the one who had died. Well, Stannis killed him. Okay, so now she moving on to Joffrey because she wanted to be the queen. So that leaves Sansa out or whatever. So Sansa thinking that, oh well, since he don't want to marry me, that he gonna send me home. But the Hound is basically was it the Hound? No, I forgot who it was. Oh, Littlefinger was telling her like, well, he ain't gonna just let you go that easy. Like, he gonna keep you around and toy with you and just fuck your life up for real, basically. And Littlefinger was basically saying, like, we can leave, I can get you out of here and get you back home. But, you know, Sansa was like, no, I'm gonna stay here, whatever the case may be, like that. Um, so Jon Jon gets, hold on, I don't want to talk about that yet. Let's talk about Dany. So Dany is looking for her dragons, her dragons and pintos. So she goes into the house of Undying. When she gets into this house of Undying, it's like a huge maze or whatever the case may be right now. And inside this huge maze, it's like different things. So when she walks through one door, she sees like the Iron Throne. So this is like the end scene in season 8, the last episode. Like, this is exactly what she sees. So she goes up to the Iron Throne. It's like a bunch of ash and snow all over the place. It's just a fucking mess. The throne room don't look like nothing. It just look like the throne room done been through something, okay? But she was about to touch the Iron Throne, but then she hears some crying. So then she walks through another door. It's like a blizzard or whatever the case may be, and then she see a little tent. And then she walks into the tent, and then she see Khal Drogo and her baby boy, okay? And the baby boy was so cutesy, all right? And they have a little conversation or whatever the case may be. But she basically saying, like, I'm going to see you, whenever the afterlife is, yada, yada, yada. And then she leaves out of there, and then she finally finds the area where her dragons are. So the guy who was playing all the tricks, 1 to 13 or whatever, that took her dragons in the first place, he basically had her chained up or whatever. But she had her dragons blow fire on him or whatever the case may be. He burnt up and stuff like that. So she ended up getting her dragons back, freeing them. So when she get back to her room, she see the other guy, the 13, was now the king of Koth, in the bed with her handmaiden. And, oh, she was pissed off about that. And she locked them in this fucking big ass cell thing where they couldn't get out, right? They turned the lock, and it's not even like a regular cell. Like, it's like a hole in the wall. So they don't got no air, no ventilation, none of that shit. So they ain't never getting out of there. They gonna die there. I was like, she ain't like that. So then we get to Winterfell. So Winterfell basically is falling for real. So Winterfell is supposed to be under attack, or whatever the case may be. So Theon was trying to rally up his homies, or whatever the case may be, to try to get them on board with going out to fight the war. And then one of his people from his own camp knocked him out, or whatever the case may be. And they took him back to the Iron Islands, and they burnt down Winterfell. So Winterfell is completely gone. Their last Maester is dead, or whatever the case may be. And Bran, his brother Rickon, Hodor, and the Wildling girl is heading north, okay, towards the wall so they can find Jon. Now, let's get to Jon, okay? I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss any of the other parts that was important, but let's get to Jon. So Jon is captured by the wildlings, or whatever the case may be. He gets into a fight because one of his rangers know, the other ranger that they captured, he know that they're going to end up, Mance Rayder's going to end up off of both of them if they find them, or whatever the case may be. So he basically like trying to make Jon seem like he's a traitor and this and the third to help Jon with the wildlands, or whatever the case may be. So they have a big battle, or whatever the case may be, and then he tells Jon, he told Jon that he wanted him to off him. So that's what Jon did. And they was like, yeah, let Mance Rayder know that this is the one who had murked the other yo, because I think Mance Rayder don't like the other guy or whatever. So then they on their way to go see Mance Rayder or whatever. Now, Jon, other friend, the smart one, him and 2 other rangers out in the blizzard, or whatever the case would be, looking for Jon and everybody else. So while they out there looking for them, they see like it's like a huge blizzard or whatever the case may be to go about, and then the other 2 ran, and the other Sam is a smart one. Sam had hid behind a big ass rock. So as he hid behind this rock, he see a whole bunch of White Walkers walking by him, right? And then he see one of the Night Kings. It's not the actual Night King, but it's one of his generals or whatever. And the Night King general looked dead at Sam in his eyes, and then he ordered his army to march forward. So they walking towards the wall, towards Castle Black, okay? So it's so crazy how the scene ended.